Well, billionaire, investor, philanthropist, and former Wyoming Republican candidate for governor Foster Friess says the identity of both political parties has changed. He joins us now. Foster, you say Democrats used to be the blue-collar guys, and Republicans were the country club, white-collar folks, and those roles have been completely reversed. Explain.
Well, if you look at who are the people in the Trump rallies, they're the plumbers, electricians, construction workers, nurses. And if you look who's calling the shots and funding the Democratic Party, it's the people heading up Facebook, Google, George Soros, Amazon. And so now you've had the roles completely changed, and Republicans are no longer the Republicans that they were. There's no new name for this party yet. Maybe we call them the Bison Party.
Love that.
So, Foster, I got to raise the irony of an incredibly successful Republican like yourself pointing this out. However, I hate to say it, I have to agree with you. This has been the problem with my party. We have forgotten, we got very involved for many years in some very lofty goals, which I think had some good results, but we forgot that we're supposed to be the party of the working man. So I am here to pledge to you personally that going into 2020, the Democrats will once again become the party of working class Americans.
Oh my God.
Because if we don't, we are in big trouble.
Listen up, Nancy Pelosi.
And Foster, don't use the word bison party, because they'll say we're trying to buffalo the American people.
Well, how did we wind up with an elephant? There's no elephants in America anyplace. I don't get it.
Well, it seems to me,
Better
actually,
than being a donkey.
It seems to me that the Democrats have attached themselves to the very wealthy, particularly the tech elites, people in also on Wall Street and so forth, but also very low-income Americans. I think it's the middle class where they've kind of exited and left that very fertile ground for the GOP. And it seems to me that's what a lot of the conversation about this campaign was about.
But you also have the challenge, though, of the suburbs, where the Republicans did not do well, especially in states like New Jersey, where they'd done well before in the suburbs. The question is, how do we get those votes back again? Because in many ways, they're fiscally conservative. They're not of the far left.
I think the answer there is to try to get this health care issue resolved. In many states, there's no insurers. In Wyoming, we only have Blue Cross Blue Shield, and we have to figure out a way of how to make the insurance companies more profitable so they'll go back into business. And I think health care is very important to these suburban people and their husbands or themselves, and regardless of who's working in the family. I had one friend who had a $22,000 premium and $9,000 deductible, $31,000 total exposure in a letter just recently, and those are after-tax dollars. So those are the kind of folks who are benefiting from this big shift to direct provider care, where if we could get the program that Susan Collins, one of the greater women in the Senate, that she worked with Lindsey Graham, Bill Cassidy, Senator, and former Senator Rick Santorum. The four of them had a plan, as you know, that only missed by one vote, where all this money comes back to the states. So California has a different format for health care ideas, maybe single payer, than, let's say, South Carolina. So let's get the money back to the states, and that's going to be a huge part of the solution to dramatically reduce costs.
Foster, I really like those ideas, but one of the problems that I see happening in Washington is there's no moderates left. Nobody work across the aisle. All of a sudden, it's identity politics, and you look at a lot of the Democrats that won. They're talking about socialism. I mean, I've never heard the words Medicare for all so much in my entire life than I have in the last 6 months, which is scary to me. And because who's going to pay for it? But where have all the moderates gone, and where do we locate those people and put them in the Republican Party?
Well, let's take the other side of that coin, because you look at Cunningham, who won the seat formerly held by Sanford, Mark. He basically, everybody around him said, he's really a closet Republican. And I make the point that a lot of these people were elected on the Democratic ticket. Yes, some were socialists, but many of them were elected because they did like what the Pennsylvania folks did when they ran Casey, a pro-life guy, against Santorum. So I think a lot of these elections were very, very close, and they cannot go too far to the left in some of these red states.
Foster, a question for you. Do you think Joe Manchin of West Virginia now switches parties?
Well, I'm very close to one of his dearest friends, and we've been working on him for a while, but to no luck yet. But I think he'll vote in many of the right ways. So,
and by the way, you're right on health care. There are Medicaid referendums in several states, including Idaho, expanding it, and all those referendums passed.
Foster, let me just interject here. Liz Cheney from your great state has become a candidate for the conference chair for the GOP and put out quite a long statement today talking not about the messaging issue amongst Democrats, but again amongst the GOP, saying, despite the tremendous success of the Trump economy, tax cuts, historic regulatory reform, crucial efforts to begin rebuilding our military and restoring American strength and power, we will be in the minority in the 116th Congress. For us to prevail in this new environment, we must fundamentally overhaul and modernize our House GOP communications operation. Sounds like she's pretty ripped that basically the GOP representatives did not get out there and sell what has been going on in this country for the last 2 years. Your thoughts?
Well, I think Liz Cheney is brilliant. I'm a huge fan of that woman. She's just phenomenal. Everybody loves her in Wyoming. And with that statement, you can see she's on the right track, because these messaging things should not be that hard. For example, on global warming, a lot of people just write Republicans off if you're not believing that we ought to close down all the coal plants. But if you look at the Paris Accord...
Okay, forgive me, Foster, but we got a picture. This is a live shot of Jeff Sessions walking out of the Justice Department. Let's just listen and hear if he has anything to say here. Okay, once again, quite a day for that man. Jeff Sessions, the former Attorney General of the United States, submitted his resignation. Some questions about when he actually wrote it, but at least it was submitted today. The president has accepted it, if not demanding it, and we will see what happens. Now, Foster, forgive me for interrupting you in the middle of the thought. Go ahead and finish it, and then we have to go to a break quickly.
Well, if the Paris Accord, Russia, China, and India are the three largest polluters. They put $0 into the fund. We put $1 billion, President Obama, without going through Congress. Yep. And if you look at what creates most of the hospitalizations, it's some pollutant called SM5 or something. It's the little particles of soot from burning leaves and out of chimneys, and that's 90% of the hospitalizations. Our parts per centimeter, cubic meter, are like maybe 18. The standard in Europe is 25, so we're below that, and we're also below France and Germany, and then Iceland and Greenland are lower. So once we can educate people about where we really stand with the condition of our air and our water compared to these other countries, I think that whole idea will go away.
No matter how good we are, if China and India keep doing what they're doing, it doesn't even matter. Foster, great to see you, my friend. Thank you very much for coming in. Great thoughts. Appreciate you sharing with us.
Well, David, I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks for what you guys are doing.
Thanks a million. Come back and see us again. Coming up.